Hello and welcome to this new blog post on Master Data Management with Electronic Reporting, Part 1. And in this blog post we want to focus on a specific requirement that focuses mainly on large international companies that have a diversified IT landscape. And if you deal with these kind of companies, then you might be familiar with the situation that master data, so let's say of customers, of vendors, of items, they are set up in different systems, and this setup and the maintenance of this data becomes an issue as the fragmentation increases. So as you get more isolated or separate IT systems. And of course there are specialized master data management tools, but these tools are often expensive and they take a long time to implement because you have to kind of connect the different systems and the different logics in this master data management tool, and therefore it is often a special project that can be quite lengthy and expensive. But also, if you look at Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform, we have actually a master data management tool. And these tools that we have available, something like cross-company data sharing, dual write, data integrator, and so on, they often do not comprise all of the systems and environments, or they require some additional licensing, some additional knowledge of setting up things. So they have their own, so to say, problems or obstacles that you have to overcome before you use them. And what I want to show you in the following is basically an alternative that you can think about how to use electronic reporting for that. And the aims that I have is I want to have a cheap and easy to implement solution. I want to have 100% control of that. So I do not want to depend on something external, on a tool that I cannot control myself. And then I want to integrate different systems, finance and operation systems, customer engagement systems, and other external IT systems. And of course, as the company develops, grows, enters into new business areas, I want to be able to adjust it easily and quickly. And before we dig into details, I had a couple of considerations that I made. And these considerations depend on the setup that I made. So let me show you that. So first, I have a first instance, a first tenant with a Dynamics 365 F&O environment that I call DF10, Dr. Finance 10. I have a second environment, DF9. It's a separate instance, separate tenant. And then I have a Dataverse environment. This is also separate. So they are not connected. And in theory, I could also have an SAP system. I don't have that available. Therefore, we focus mainly on the Microsoft platforms and systems. But you could have SAP, Oracle, or other external systems that you need to integrate. And for this example, for this specific example, I said, okay, my master data management is supervised in this company. And then based on that, I want to export records with electronic reporting. And if you know electronic reporting, then you know that we can export data in batch. I will put that on a SharePoint document library, and from there I import the data into these environments. And of course, you can do the same with SAP. But because I do not have a SAP environment, my focus is on this kind of setup with these three Microsoft environments. And for the export and import job, I have here a schematic drawing. And what you see here on the left side is the timeline. So this is the time that helps me to illustrate when specific processes run. Here first on the left hand side I have the DF10 environment, and here on the right hand side I have the DF9 environment. And I could have also included the Dataverse environment. But for simplicity, I just included these two. And what I want to do is, from DF10, I want to export new and modified records. That's what is illustrated with this green arrow here. And this company imports them. That's supported with electronic reporting. But then the question is, okay, what happens if this DF9 or this Dataverse environments or the people working on these systems, if they want to have a change? So in this case, I would say, yeah, you have to go back to these people working in DF10 and tell them that this change is needed. But then I thought, okay, this is quite manual. If I just have to tell them or send an email, can we do something like this? That we say, okay, if an update occurs, we give the data back. So we basically have two export and import jobs. One highlighted in green that exports the master records from DF10 to DF9, and then one that goes back and updates and exports the modified records. If you're doing that, then there's one problem, and this is what I described here as problem of an endless loop. So what is that? Well, here's the example that I have. So on the left hand side, I have export and import batch jobs. They run every 5 minutes. And here they start 8 o'clock, 8:05, 8:10, 8:15, and so on. And to keep things simple to illustrate, I said, okay, in DF9, these jobs also run every 5 minutes, but we start a bit later, 8:03, let's say. Okay, and then we have here the creation of a new customer. 8 o'clock or 3 minutes after 8 o'clock, the customer is created, and then in the next batch job, this newly created record is identified and exported. That's what I try to highlight here. With the export, we create a file, and then we can import this customer data here. Now imagine, okay, this is the next batch job, then nothing happens here. But now imagine that this DF9 company is making a modification. And based on our setup, we said, okay, the modification results in an export. That's the blue column here. And from that, we create a file that we import here again. What would happen then next then? The thing is, okay, we have an updated record, and this export job would grab this record and export it again. So it would identify, hey, there's something changed, and I need to export new and modified records. So we have an export here again. And then the next import that happens after that will import or update this customer again. It will not be an import, it will basically be an update. And then again, this continues. If there's a change here, it will identify, hey, this record has been updated, so export it. And then we are back in this endless loop where we export and import the records from DF10 to DF9 and so on. So this cannot be a solution. So the question is then, how can we avoid this endless loop? Well, I said, okay, why not creating an export job that only exports the new records? And this one only import the new ones. And then I have a second job. If the daughter company, so DF9 here, modifies something, then we export only the modified records and we only import the modified records. And there will be no re-export because the export job here is only for new records. So let's have a look at how this would look like. Same example. I create a customer here. It's included in this export job. The customer will be imported here. Then I make a modification. The modification will be exported. And then I will update my record here. And then the other batch jobs that run all of the 5 minutes, they do nothing. This kind of synchronization is similar to what you might know from dual write. But there are two problems. that I see with that and why I do not want to have that. Yeah. So first here, with this setup, where we export new records, import new records, and then export the modified records and import them here. This avoids this endless loop, but this shifts a part of the control or the workload to the subsystems. Yeah? So basically, the control for the master records is not with DF10 only, but it's kind of mixed into environments. And that's something I do not want to have, at least for this example here in this blog post. Because this would mean DF9 or the Dataverse people, they can change my master data records. And at the end, it might get messy. But the other problem that I listed here is also something you need to consider. Yeah? What happens if you have more than one child system, so DF9 plus Dataverse plus something else, and then people want to suggest different changes? Yeah? So let's say DF9 says, I don't like the customer credit limit that you set up, Mr. DF10. I want to change it to 8,000. While at the same time, the people working in Dataverse say, hey, I want to have a credit limit of 5,000. So what are you doing then? Well, here I thought, okay, how can we fix that? Huh? And what I thought about is like this. DF10 exports all new and modified records. DF9 and Dataverse imported these records. Huh? So that's what we know. But then, if they want to have a change, then I do not allow them to feedback and update these records directly. But I say, okay, create a Power App. No? Make a suggestion what you want to have changed. And then the master management team can here approve and reject these changes. No? Once they update the record, this job that grabs the new and modified records will export them and do an update here. So the solution is basically that we have here a Power App that suggests what changes will be done. This person can then approve or reject it, and then the next export job will take care of that. Okay, so that's it for the first part, where I just wanted to introduce you the concept and the ideas. In the next part, I will show you the configuration that I made in my systems, and I will show you the system setup. But for today, I would like to finish. Yeah? If you have comments or want to send an email, here are my contact details. And as usual, thank you very much for listening and watching, and looking forward to seeing you in the next blog post then.